All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive paradigm shift in how we actually think about wealth. We're going to explore exactly how fiat money is silently losing its value right under your nose, and more importantly, how a brilliant digital invention could be the ultimate shield to protect your purchasing power. So let's just jump right into it. So let me ask you a question. Is your money losing value every single second? I know, it sounds a little extreme, right? But what if I told you that the cash sitting in your wallet right now is actively bleeding purchasing power? You've definitely noticed that everyday items, groceries, gas, housing, they just keep getting more expensive. And it's not because those items are magically getting better or more luxurious. It's actually because the currency itself is dying. To understand why that's happening, we have to look at the root cause. Section 1. The hidden cost of inflation. You see, inflation isn't just an accident of nature like a bad rainstorm. It's actually a built-in feature of how modern money works. Our source material points out that it functions as a hidden tax on the poor and middle class, and it's caused directly by the mechanics of the banking system. To put that into perspective, think about the dollar back in 1920. It had massive purchasing power. Everyday staples like milk and bread cost literally just pennies. Now, fast forward, projecting into 2026, and we're looking at historically low purchasing power, where those exact same items are skyrocketing in price. The dollar has just lost an immense amount of its value over the last century. So what is actually causing this massive, relentless drop? That brings us to Section 2, the fractional banking flaw. When you deposit your hard-earned paycheck into a bank account, you probably imagine it's just sitting there, safely locked in a physical vault, waiting for you, right? Well, let's look at what actually happens behind closed doors. 90%. Yeah, 90%. That is the shocking truth of how the system operates. Banks immediately lend out up to 90% of your deposited funds to someone else so they can earn interest. This creates a highly leveraged and frankly very fragile system known as fractional reserve banking. They only keep a tiny fraction of actual cash on hand at any given time. So the absolute crucial question here is, what happens if everyone demands their money back at exactly the same time? Well, when that fragile system breaks down, it creates a catastrophic loop. Take 2008, for example. The housing market crashes. Just weeks later, major banks begin collapsing literally overnight because they simply didn't have the funds to cover massive customer withdrawals. Then, months later, to stop a total economic collapse, governments stepped in and printed trillions of dollars in bailouts completely out of thin air. And the result? Skyrocketing inflation. Because when you artificially print trillions of new dollars, the money that's already in your pocket instantly becomes worth less. Which leads us to Section 3, the birth of digital gold. Right in the middle of that 2008 financial chaos, a mysterious and monumental shift happened. In 2009, an anonymous figure going by the name Satoshi Nakamoto appeared on internet forums and published a revolutionary 9-page paper that would quite literally change finance forever. Satoshi Nakamoto's vision was crystal clear. The goal was to create, quote, a currency that belongs to the people, controlled by no king, no president, and no central bank, end quote. This wasn't just about creating some new tech stock to trade. It was about building a completely decentralized financial system, one that couldn't be shut down, couldn't be manipulated by a central authority, and, most importantly, couldn't be inflated away by printing money out of thin air. 21 million, that is it. Satoshi hard-coded a strict, unbreakable mathematical rule into the very fabric of Bitcoin. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins created, forever. This means absolutely no government, no bank, and no CEO can ever decide to just print more and inflate the supply. It fundamentally changes the psychology of scarcity. If you own one, you own exactly 1/21 millionth of the entire global supply, and no one can dilute that. Section 4, trusting the decentralized ledger. Now, here is the critical retention hook. If there's no central bank, no physical vault, and no CEO, how on earth do we trust a completely digital notebook? I mean, what's stopping a hacker from just changing the numbers and stealing billions of dollars? Let's break down the revolutionary technology that actually makes this trust possible. The answer is the blockchain. Think of it like a giant, globally distributed digital notebook, or ledger, where every single transaction is verified and copied across millions of computers, which are called nodes, simultaneously all over the world. To hack this system and fake a transaction, someone would have to mathematically and financially take over 51% of all those global computers at the exact same time. It's practically impossible. Think about physical gold. For thousands of years, it's been the standard. But try moving $10 million of physical gold across a border today. You'll be stopped, you'll pay heavy taxes, and it's incredibly slow and dangerous. With Bitcoin, you can move $1 billion anywhere in the world in 10 minutes for a fee of around $2, and it is completely permissionless. It's frictionless, unstoppable digital gold. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, wow, tens of thousands of dollars for a whole Bitcoin is way too expensive for me, don't worry. One Bitcoin is easily broken down into 100 million smaller pieces known as Satoshis. You really don't need to be a millionaire to start participating in this system. You can literally buy fractions of a Bitcoin with just $10 and still hold a mathematically scarce asset. Section 5. Stablecoin War Chest Strategy. So how do you practically extract profits from this highly volatile digital gold without creating a massive headache for yourself? To do this successfully, you absolutely need a professional, emotionless system. Enter the professional 20% profit grid strategy. Instead of relying on raw emotion when prices skyrocket, which usually ends badly, smart investors set a strict, predetermined schedule. When a specific price target is hit, exactly 20% of the portfolio is automatically sold into dollar-pegged stablecoins, like USDT or USDC. The remaining 80% stays in the market to capture further upside. This completely removes the devastating human elements of fear and greed from the equation. Section 6. Surviving the crypto winter. Okay, so once you've successfully acquired those stablecoins, where should you actually store them to keep them 100% safe from failing exchange platforms? Because leaving them on a centralized platform when the market crashes is a total recipe for disaster. Let's look at the ultimate storage showdown. Exchange wallets are super vulnerable to platform hacks. At the end of the day, the platform owns your private keys, and when a crash happens, it leads to absolute panic. Cold storage, however, acts as your digital war chest. It's a completely secure offline hardware ledger where you and only you own the keys to your digital vault. This makes waiting out violent market crashes a completely stress-free experience. So, bringing it all together, the core of this strategy forms a really straightforward blueprint. You set a strict profit-taking grid, you lock your gains in USD-pegged stablecoins, you move those funds immediately to an offline cold storage wallet, and then you just wait, completely stress-free, sitting safely on your digital cash during a bear market while everyone else is panicking. And then use that cash to buy back massive amounts of assets at a heavy discount. It is a remarkably patient, bulletproof approach to digital wealth. I want to end this explainer with one final pretty massive question. What if your stable cash could grow automatically while you wait for the next bull run? You see, you don't actually have to just sit on your cash doing nothing. In our next explainer, we're going to dive deep into the fascinating world of decentralized finance, or DeFi, and high-yield staking to see exactly how those resting assets can be put to work. It's going to be a total game changer. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next one.